You know how much I love you guys? It's 2:15 in the morning, but I'm an adult anyway. It's not really a big deal for me. Leave a like if you're an idol like me, and comment down below if you're watching this at 2 in the morning. That way I don't feel alone. Gotta say, I'm probably the only person in the neighborhood doing my makeup or doing anything like this at 2 o'clock in the morning. In honor of Season 3, I'm gonna keep the Attack on Titan theme rolling, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do the Armored Titan. Because you can't have the Colossal Titan without the Armored Titan. It's a package bundle. Now you could either paint your eyes, or if you don't want to paint your eyes, you could use the screen lenses. If you don't want to use the screen lenses, because you only have half your vision, you can just go with your normal eyes. I mean, who says the Armored Titan doesn't have irises? Anyway, so no more horsing around, let's get right into the video, and let's get started!
Once again, we need to black out our eyebrows, and this time, we need to make them disappear as much as possible. I was trying a couple different products to see which one is better at making my eyebrows disappear, and Too Faced always comes out on top. I'm now sketching out all the Armored Titan's face panels. I'm making most of the lines pretty rough and jagged. I then decided, I guess I'll sketch the rest of the body too, so that's what I did. Next I used my favorite concealer and covered my lips and not made them so pink. All the other places that are not going to be red, I covered in my normal foundation. Then I powdered that sucker down. Then I started painting all the muscly spots. The muscles on the chin looked like it was growing over the faceplate, so I stroked in an upward position to make it look that way. As for the rest of the spots, I tried to paint in the direction that the muscles were going, so if you happen to have some paint stroking streaks, it'll actually work in your favor. If you see my Colossal Titan tutorial, it's the exact same steps. With each layer I put on, I'm using less water. I'm also drawing less lines the darker I go. And you do that for the whole face. You can probably see here that some muscles I'm putting in different directions from others. You can now use some highlights. I used some watered down white paint because the muscles are underneath the faceplate, so there's not too many highlights under there, but there's just a little bit where the light would catch the muscles. I then put some red eyeshadow around my eyes so it doesn't spread around, but if you're planning on drawing the eyes, make sure you don't put it on your eyelids. There's me multitasking again. The Armored Titan's eye sockets are pretty sunken into his faceplates, so I used black eyeshadow and shaded under the faceplate, and I made it pretty dark too. I did all my shading with red and black eyeshadows. Once you're done drawing all the lines, you can shade all the areas under the faceplates. I keep saying faceplates, should I call it armor since it's the Armored Titan? Once you're satisfied with all the muscles you drew, you can now clean up all the fallout and rough edges around the edges. And if necessary, you can go it over again with your own foundation. Next, I started drawing all the lines on top of the armor. It'll eventually turn into shadows. It was kind of hard to tell from the anime if the bottom jaw is on top or below the rest of the face, but I made the shadows as if the bottom jaw is on top of everything else. In the deeper spots, I went over again with that same brown eyeshadow to make it a little bit darker. I used that brown eyeshadow for almost everything. The contouring, the shading, the lines, pretty much everything. And all the products I used will be listed in the description below. kept some open plain spots that were a little bare on my face, so I added some shattered pieces like the armor is broken. I added some shattered pieces on both sides of my forehead, and I made them a little different. Continue to add those angry expression lines. I added a minuscule amount of black shadow with the tiniest brush I could find to add a little more depth in all my shading. The last thing we're going to do on her face for now is to add the highlights on all the armor. For this, I used the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk and then blended it out. As for the rest of the body, paint all the muscly parts red. Now you can start drawing all the lines for the muscles. You can skip the step where you dilute the paint, because that's going to take forever. I was trying to keep the lines matching in different sections, so if you have to paint over the skin sections, you could clean it up later. But then as it reaches the neck, it'll curve up. Just like the face, you use darker colors as you put more layers on and use less lines. Keep in mind which parts of the neck that you're going to keep darker. And since the muscles on the neck are more exposed, you can add more highlights than you would on your face. And I used my black eyeshadow from NYX, which is pretty pigmented, and shaded all the muscles under the armor. Stroke the brush to shade in the same directions as the muscles. Now clean up the mess you made. I cleaned up all the edges before the rest of the shading because it was hard for me to tell where the muscles kind of started, so I guess you could always clean it up after your shading as well. For the shading, I still used that dark red eyeshadow and the very pigmented black shadow. And just like the face, I'm using that same medium brown eyeshadow and shading and drawing on the rest of the armor. I used a whole lot of reference pictures to know where I'm drawing my lines and shading. It's also a good idea to take your time on this kind of stuff and start off with thin lines and build up from there. With any type of makeup, body painting, or anything, you have to have patience. And I didn't have patience when I started. I built patience. And the more time and patience you spend on all your looks, the more epic it'll be. Oh, this would be an appropriate time to put on that Persona 5 Take Your Time logo thing. You know what I'm talking about? Oh my god, this whole thing is one brown eyeshadow. I think it was Urban Decay. I'll have the exact product in the description below. Here's the part where you use black, but be pretty sparing about it. You could always add more. It's hard to take it away. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention the Armored Titan also has like these shoulder plates that I shaded over everything else, and then I add a little bit of texture on top using that same brown eyeshadow. Next, I started adding all the lines and texture for the arms. If I were to explain what the arms would look like, it would kind of look like wood with muscles. Muscle woods. The Armored Titan, especially in the 3rd season, looks very cracked and splintery, so I added a lot of sharp and jagged edges. For the rest of the areas, paint it with red. And I didn't add any muscly texture on the arms because on the Armored Titan, it's so small that you can't really see the muscle texture, so I just shaded it with red, eyeshadow, and then black. I say black. And so I don't look like a guy with boobs, I fill in that little area with red and then heavily shaded it. This step is totally unnecessary, I just thought it was a good idea, but I added little branchy spots like the armor was branching out. And if you want to draw on the eyes, here we go. The eyes are going to be white, so you want to make sure your eyelids are as clean as possible. I wanted the eyes to be clean as I wear them, so that's why I did the eyes last through the whole makeup. Now carefully draw on the eyes with the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. You may need help to make sure the eyes look good as your eyes are closed. But I have a camera, I don't need nobody. And then you can pat down your eyes with white or translucent powder. And the very last step is to pat around your eyes with red eyeshadow to make sure the paint doesn't spread to your eyes.
I think I look like a happy Armored Titan. Selfie Armored Titan.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Attack on Titan makeup, and smack that subscribe button and join the horsepower. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!